Hey everybody, it's my 3-week check-in with you guys. I had VSG about 3 weeks ago and had it in Mexico. I had a lot of questions about that, so I'm gonna answer some of them right now. But I just wanted to say I'm feeling fabulous. The only difficult part, and you'll see we have puppies down here playing, but the only difficult for me has been my pouches just get so big, and so I really have trouble eating. Like it feels like the food gets stuck, and you're not supposed to drink 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after. So that's been a difficult change. Some foods are better than others. I know that they say that this is normal and it gets better over time, but that's about my only challenge. The pain was very minimal. It was just basically the CO2 that they fill you up with, the gas pain. And I'll do another video on like what I suggest as lifesavers that you take with you if you're going to be having gastric sleeve surgery. But I've noticed the biggest change so far. I've lost about 17 pounds. The biggest change for me, it has been in my face. That's where I noticed in the pictures the most. Like I literally, when I went down there, I looked like a puffballoon. So, and I still have a long way to go, but I see like double chin and all of that is like the first thing that has been disappearing at first. But other than that, my energy levels are going up. It's been, because you're only living off of very few calories. So what did you guys bring in here? Oh, they're just a nightmare. So it's been a challenge because, you're living off of such a small amount of calories, and your body, you're still doing the same amount of work. So there is some lethargy in the beginning. They say that gets much better around week 6. So I'm just halfway through that, but I have been taking a supplement called Mito 2 Max, and it's awesome because I can't have caffeine. There's no caffeine in it, no stimulants, no nothing. It's supposed to affect how the mitochondria work, and it has ginseng in for brain health. And that's the other thing that I noticed, is that I was just so daydreamy and tired. And I actually took that before, and once I realized that all the contents of it were great, I started taking that when I came back at about week 2, or this past week, so week 3, and it's like energy soared through the roof, while I'm still trying to up my calories. So the biggest challenge for me is getting that protein in, but I'll talk about all of those specifics in another video. Today I wanted to address why I went to Mexico, which people sent me lots of texts saying, what the bleep? What's wrong with you? You're gonna go down there and they're gonna take your kidneys and you're not gonna know about, just all kind of crazy stuff. People were angry and upset, and I know they want the best for me, but this is the reason why. I knew that I had gotten to a crossroads with my health. I had to make a decision, and I had to make it soon. Like something had to change right now. I could not gain not 1 more pound. So, our insurance, we have great insurance. However, they want you to do the typical 6-month diet beforehand. And I had tried everything. I had already been to a naturalist who had me on Cytomel, some hormone stuff. We tried everything. Nothing worked. And then they wanted me to do the 6 months. Well, the problem with me is that my BMI was right on the cusp of them paying for it. And literally, if I would have lost 1 pound, I would have dropped out of qualifying for it being paid for, because I don't have high blood pressure. My blood pressure had been skeeking up, but it wasn't to the place qualified as high blood pressure. I did not have diabetes. My A1C had also been creeping up, but it wasn't to the place where it could be called diabetes. So I had no comorbidities for me to qualify for them to pay for it. And once I began the diet program, if I lost 1 pound, I would have no longer qualified for them to pay for it. So that is why it kind of fell into my lap. It was just a God thing. I had a friend that went down, and I'll link her down here so you all can see and follow her. She's my level 10 life. She's lost 100 pounds. She's got a really great story, and she just had gastric surgery in December, the end of December, by the way, and already lost 100 pounds. She had a wonderful experience going down there, and with this particular surgeon. He comes highly recognized. He's been in Newsweek before. She was like, you got to go to this surgery. He did some of my other friends. I had no pains, very low complications, etc. No complications, etc. So I started doing my research. I was very afraid, but it just so happens my actual best friend had already researched this particular surgeon and this particular facility. And so I just started talking to her and realized, and I thought she was crazy when she was talking about going, but realized we had both been talking about the same place. Look at my dogs, look at that. I think that's a sock. It's always something. I have 2 puppies. I'm just gonna tell you as a side note. We got them free. We adopted them, but boy, have they been a handful. So it's no telling what you'll see down there. More than one person who actually knew about it and people that had personal experience and started doing research. I got added to their Facebook page and they had something like 25,000 people in it. And you know, over half of those had already had the procedure. So I looked up their comorbidity rates. They were all great. I mean, their morbidity, mortality rates, they're very low in comparison to the United States because they do so many of them a day. They don't do too many, but they do more than the average surgeon here. And so I just felt led to go, and I had a great experience with that surgeon. And I just prayed and gave it over to God. But I knew that for my health and for my children's sake, that something needed to happen right now. So that is how I came to go to Tijuana for the surgery. The care that I got there was the same, if not better, than what I've had in the United States. And this is coming from me. I'm an RN, an experienced RN. I also I've done circulated in the OR because I worked L&D, so I'm familiar with that also. And their standards were either the same or tighter than what we have. Very good about sterile procedure. It was great. It was excellent. I got my in-center spirometer, my TED hose, all of that when I started pre-op. They do an EKG blood work before you even are approved when you go down there. Once your blood work and your EKG and everything comes back normal, plus you're screened by an internist, then you're scheduled for your surgery on the following day. And the nursing care was wonderful. Awesome. That's enough about that. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments. I'll be doing like a couple more videos, like I said, on what I suggest you take with you, how to prepare, preparing foods after. I know that it seems to me that which I actually like, the standard of care for them is it takes about 5 to 6 weeks before you eat regular foods. That's how slow that the recommendation is from the physician there in Tijuana. The standard of care here seems to be a bit looser, where some of the patients I've seen have not all, and I can't group people together, but I've seen from more than one patient that they got to eat, like for example, yogurt, not just clear fluids. We were on clear fluids for 7 days before we could even start full liquids. Then a whole week of full liquids, and then a week of pureed food after that. Here, they seem to progress you onto food quicker. I don't know if that has anything to do with any of the complications that people see, but they do progress you a little bit slower. And I tell you, it turns out to be a good thing for me because it gave me some time, gave me a break, a time out from food, so that I really needed to address why I was eating and taking all the things that bother me to God. And that's one of the other big reasons why I did this. And it just gave me a time to break up with food in a way. When people talk about food addictions and that, you're eating over your emotions or whatever, it's real. And so it gave me a time to have a break. And I thoroughly have. It's been tough and really hard, but I really am so glad that I had that. So if you have any other questions for me, I would love to hear it, and join me on my next video where I talk about what I suggest you take with you and how you can prep for the surgery from before and after. Have a blessed day. Check out this video if you want to see my journey in Mexico.